In today's episode, we have this 2021 Chevy Silverado in for our paint enhancement. This thing has a ton of scratches and paint defects that we're really trying to reduce as much as possible with our paint enhancement. Now, why do we do so many paint enhancements and not paint corrections? Well, it's because it's what the customer wants. Now, why is that the case? Well, because we do a lot of daily drivers. We're not doing show cars, we're not doing exotics or anything like that. We can, but that's not our daily business here. The vehicles we work on are daily drivers. With that being the case, there is no need to go full paint correction. In fact, in most cases with brand new vehicles or even slightly used vehicles, going full paint correction is not always advisable. It's not always advantageous. Clear coats are getting thinner and thinner, so we have to be careful. YouTube and social media loves to show those beautiful, crisp corrections, nearly 100%, but in reality, most of the vehicles that we're doing as detailers, even across the board, are not going to be that. This is a perfect example of a daily driven truck. We're going to make this thing look incredible without having to go so far and without having to charge the customer so much. So let's get into it. We'll show you what we're working with and show you the progress. So she's now washed and deconned and dried and blown dry, because there's lots of cracks and crevices in this thing, lots of plastic panels that water gets trapped in between. Let's take a look at the paint, because I know it's bad, and there's going to be some things that I can't, remove. Look at all this bug etching. When bugs remain on the vehicle for a long period of time, they will etch into the clear coat. I can probably reduce this, but these bug etchings are crackled into the paint, and it's basically eaten into the clear coat. When I say crackled into the paint, I mean it's basically eaten into the clear coat. When you zoom in on some of these, you can see that it's, it has a crackling effect, and it's just ruined the clear coat. I think some of this will come out, but not all of it. And as you can see, the swirls are just really, really bad. We'll see what type of paint this is. If it's, softer paint, harder paint. We've got some big scratches here. We're gonna try to reduce as much as possible. Now down this side, the customer showed us some really bad defects that we have going on. Someone tried to remove some sort of scratching here, some sort of scratching there. It looks like maybe it was like hand polished out. Big scratches here. Those should come out. And some other weird scratches. Now these are really deep. And we have the Turtle Wax Scratch Repair Kit, which actually has the little bottle of resin, that clear coat. So we'll see if that can work on that. We also do have some water spots still, so we'll have to deal with those. Just overall, oh yeah. Once again, guys, paint enhancement, we're going for 50 to 75%, and we'll see if we can achieve that with, you know, a couple of different combos. And sometimes those combinations change, you know, pad and product combinations will change as we go throughout the paint, because sometimes we'll have to step it up a little bit in some areas, or if there's been repainted panels, it may change, and we have to either change up the product and pad, or change up our technique and maybe go a little bit slower, or whatever the case may be. So let's choose something and see what we can do. Before we even start polishing, because we're not going to ceramic coat this, we do things a little differently when it comes to protection. So with the trim here, Wifey is going around and protecting all of the trim first. She's using a product, actually, it's not a product for trim, but it's actually one for paint that came out years ago by Meguiar's. It's their Paint Protect. But we use it on trim, and it works incredibly well. So that's kind of our go-to for now. We only have a few bottles left, and once that's gone, it's gone, because they don't make that stuff anymore. But we hit all the trim first. That way when we're polishing, and if the polisher bumps up against the trim, it's not going to damage anything. It's not going to leave any residue. The polish that we use, many modern day polishes, don't leave that residue on the trim anymore like old stuff does. The ingredients have changed, the formulations have changed. It doesn't do that like it used to. But doing this, putting a dressing on the trim or protecting on the trim first, helps clean up after. Again, if it bumps up against the trim and leaves some sort of something on the trim, it wipes right off. So it's not a big deal at all. So we do that first, then we start polishing, and then we'll protect the paint. And I'm going to show you what we're going to use for protection. Now we have a product here that's new to us from Armor Detail Supply. It's their ceramic spray sealant. Now they also have a coating, a full-blown coating here, and also a wheel coating. We'll get to using that later. But today we're going to use this for protection. And this can boast 6+ months or more, depending on how the vehicle is cared for. So we'll be using this today. All right, so here's before and here's after. Huge improvement. And I know there's some really deep stuff in there, but we had a discussion with the customer and we came to an understanding. We know that is 50% better than it was. So the polishing now is coming to an end. It is looking really good, and it still has some deep defects. However, the hood really came out nice. I think we removed about 90% of those bug etchings, but some of them are still going to remain. They're just eaten into the clear coat. Not much we can do. However, the paint looks tremendously better. Some areas better than others because I had to cut a little bit deeper to try to get these scratches out. But you know, to no avail. They're really, really deep. However, it looks way better than it was. So now we're on to polishing the glass. There was lots of water spots on the side here that we removed with the water spot remover. And I have a couple different ones. I use the one from Max Shine. But now we're going to remove the water staining here, all around the cowl. It's a big mess here. So let's show you how we do that. So as you can see, nice and clean all the way to the edge. And over here you can still see that it's stained and water spotted. I like to clean the glass like that, the windshield especially, all the way to the edge, and then we'll protect the glass after. But I'm going to polish the rest of the glass as well after I get all the edging done. So glass and trim are done. Wifey is going to go around and hit all the wheels and tires and protect the wheels also. We actually have a new product from Vonnex that is designed for wheels. Now these are black gloss wheels, and they're pretty swirled, but you know, we're not going to try to refurbish them or anything like that, but just gloss them up, clean them, and at least make them easier to clean in the future with that product. We'll show you that in just a moment. Let's go ahead and start protecting the paint. Now, another thing you may have noticed is in some of the shots, you may have noticed me using a couple different towels, and the first towel looked like it was really wet. It's because it was. I was using a damp microfiber towel, just soaked with water and wrung out, as my first panel wipe, and then I used a dry towel to remove the rest of the polishing residue. Okay, so now we're going to apply this protection, and this is a standalone spray sealant, or it can be used as a topper for their ceramic coatings. In this instance, I'm using it as standalone protection. A couple of mists into your towel. Application is very smooth and easy, and I can feel the paint instantly become slick. I like that. That's awesome. Very, very easy to apply. I might need a second towel, maybe halfway around the vehicle, but I might be able to get away with just one towel and just keep flipping it using all 8 sections. So Wifey did an incredible job at the scratches back here. We actually didn't have to use the scratch kit that I thought we were going to have to use. She basically just compounded them, polished them, and it looks incredible. So very, very happy about that. They look incredible. Good job. The rest of the paint is looking amazing. All the water spots are gone. We still need to just finalize the glass. Just got a little bit of residue. And if there is any extra residue, I see a little bit of residue there from where I was just wiping. That will eventually flash away, but you know, I'll probably go over it with a towel and just to make sure that it's good. But sometimes you get a little bit of residue like that towards the end because your towel kind of gets saturated. So I'll get a new towel and I'll go back over that area. But that's kind of a common thing with any types of spray sealants. Sometimes it's just an over application, but it is looking incredible. So glossy. And yes, lots of other deep scratches, but remember what it looked like before. We are at least above 50% swirl and defect removal. So it's looking incredible. A lot of the bug etching out here came out as well. A few little, you know, spots remain because it's so bad. Some other little deeper scratches. But remember, overall effect, and it's what the customer is expecting. He's not expecting perfection here. We went with the paint enhancement because that fits the budget and that kind of fits the bill of what he needs for this truck.